Hey guys, what's going on? Doing a quick LottoX review. So I started this a couple of weeks ago where I'm documenting what the trades are for LottoX with Raging Bull, which is basically a service that alerts about 5 different trades every Thursday around lunchtime. I think it's 12:30 Eastern time these come out. They do a half-hour live stream and they talk about the trades and alert them, and then also send them out via the app as well, so that you can kind of decide whether you're going to go get into these. They're high risk, high reward, so often a lot of them will just fail miserably, and then often some of them will go 500% or more. So it's a pretty exciting service. I think I've come up with a way where I can trade these most effectively compared to perhaps the way that they're maybe designed to be. So they're supposed to be held overnight with the contracts expiring the next day, and often that works great. So I'll show you a few examples. This was week 1. You can see that if you held overnight these calls, so like the Disney calls here, the GDX calls, AMD, CHPT, Meta and Google, actually most of them went up a significant amount, 600%, 100%, 260% and 860%, which is amazing. One of them expired worthless. Big deal, right? As long as you're getting some in all of them, which is generally what I try and do with this service. And so that week was great, and that was if you'd held overnight. Here I didn't put what would have happened if you just intraday trade them, and this is where there's some sort of ambiguity comes in, and something I kind of want to talk a little bit more about in this video. Last week was week 2, which was these ones, so TGD, Google, PFE, MSFT, and NKE. And you can see that 2 of them moved 600 and 700% overnight, which is amazing. Really great winners. One failed miserably, expired worthless. Another one was about 50% loss, depending on where you put your stop losses the next day. And this one was more complicated. I already did a video on this explaining that. It's in this article here, which I'll link in the description below. So I put a video analysis. And so this week is week 3. It's pending. I'm going to put my video in here. And in this video at the moment, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the calls were, how I played them, and how things went. So this came out on Thursday. If I pull up the pics here, here's the screenshot of all the different alerts that came out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 different calls. I think they're all calls, yeah. And so the market was rallying, so these kind of made sense. At the time, we were getting quite a nice rally on SPY. I can show you really quick on my brokerage account here. Just go to SPY for Thursday. And so this has its pros and cons, right? Is there was clearly momentum on Wednesday and Thursday, but then it all kind of died today. So this was Friday on the right here. So here's Thursday, right? So the calls came out on the Thursday on LottoX. This is just SPY though, so I'm just kind of showing you the overall market. And then we had this nice rally continuing up, and then this horrendous sell-off, and then today's been kind of a wash. It's Friday today, so today was kind of another bit of a spike, but then a sell-off again all the way back down. So the LottoX are best if the markets are trending higher. So if you get a nice gap up in the markets, all your basket of LottoX stocks tend to also go with it, which is great. In this case, however, we had a massive amount of tech earnings. Apple, Amazon, I think there was another couple, don't remember off the top of my head. And they all missed, or most of them missed, and it caused a bit of a sell-off after hours. And I think the sell-off on the Thursday, right after LottoX came out around here, was also probably an anticipation or fear of perhaps the market not reacting well to these tech earnings. So it's something that perhaps LottoX guys need to kind of explain a bit and say, hey, there are some tech earnings after here. Holding it overnight would be extra risky, because if they're bad, the market could really go down and you could have a problem with all of your contracts. And so in this case, it's kind of what happened. So a lot of people got a bit burned this week on these contracts, and I know a few people got out for small losses or even a small gain by holding overnight, but the risk was definitely on for sure. So, and I didn't hold them overnight. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about in this video is what did I do and why I recommend it. Obviously this isn't investment advice, and you should do whatever you feel most comfortable with doing. But I've been playing these for a while now, and what I found is the best way for me personally to play these is that when they come out around this time is to take a position in each one. So if we look at the ones that came out, I took a position in almost all of these. I think I'll show you my brokerage thing in a minute and you can see. And what I do is I generally get in pretty quickly, so where the prices are relatively what they are when they're being alerted. And then if I get a move up 20, 30, 40% plus, I'll just either take it all off and leave a runner, or literally just sell all the position and get out for an nice overall profit on my portfolio. So this strategy has worked well for me in LottoX, but also other services as well. And it's something that I plan to continue. If you look at my screenshot that I took yesterday, so these were the plays on the left here. So I'm just trying to see which ones I did. I think I did all of them except maybe W. No, I did W. No, I did all of them. So W, Shot, PayPal, PLTR, Chewy, and ARC on the left here. So all of these. And so I actually didn't even get good prices on these. I jumped in a little bit later. I was kind of busy at the time, so normally I get in a better price. But the cool thing was, like, we did have this little run up in the market, so we did have this nice little run, and a lot of these things followed the market. And as soon as I saw it was up a decent percentage, I decided to sell, and boy, I'm glad I did, because we had this massive sell-off and it would have been kind of too late. So locking in profits sometimes with these things it's not a bad idea. Taking profits, paying yourself quickly, instead of taking on that high risk, high reward overnight. You can do both, right? You can sell some and then hold some overnight. In this case, somebody that I was talking to mentioned that there was these big tech earnings and that holding overnight might not be the smartest idea. And since I was up significantly, I decided just to take my profits. So if you look along here on the side here, you can see that this paid off quite well for me. I closed them all out for about 5,000 here, so this was shortly before I closed out. I try and screenshot stuff so that I can put them into these videos. However, I generally don't like showing actual numbers and things. It's not the best practice because it's going to vary so much for people, and I don't want to give people a false impression that you can make $5,000 in an hour, every week or anything on these trades. But in this case, this is the screenshot, and I closed out around 5,000 profit loss for the day on these LottoX things. Going forward, I'm not going to show very many of this because, again, I don't want to mislead people. My risk tolerances are completely different from other people's. And the last thing I want is people thinking that, that maybe this is a norm or some sort of like income promise or anything like that. So I'm going to be careful going forward. But I wanted to make a point on this one in particular that playing it the way that I've been playing it is actually paid off really, really nicely. Because unfortunately, a lot of these got kind of decimated the next day. So a lot of these went down 50% or more. Chewy did actually recover, I think. We can have a quick look at Chewy. It's hard for me because I was out of all these. I wasn't really tracking them the next day as much as I normally would have. So let's just have a look and see what happened on Chewy. So Chewy did recover pretty nicely, actually, all the way up to here. Let's see what Chewy... So $50 call. So it did go well into the money. So Chewy was a huge winner. And so this is why I recommend people taking all of them though, right? Because if you only took like PayPal, which did horribly, and didn't do Chewy, then your losses would have exceeded your gains. So Chewy actually was a huge winner today as well. So that's kind of my tips and tricks is take small amounts in each one of these pretty quickly. Sell portions to protect yourself as they go up intraday. They often move 50% plus intraday. There's data that I had from Raging Bull that shows that there is a significant portion move intraday 50 to 100%. And so that's been my experience as well. So it's definitely something worth thinking about. I've done this with services for a long time. Where you find volatile services like this, especially if there's subscribers buying into them, and then you take profits pretty quickly on them. You can always leave a couple of runners or whatever to see if they'll spike 600% overnight or whatever, but that's not generally the way I play them. So definitely an interesting week with LottoX. So if you want to learn more about the service, I have a whole article here. I talk about it in every video I do about LottoX. And so you can come here, and I actually have a couple of links here, so you can come to the Facebook group that I run. We talk about LottoX in there sometimes. And this link here is really cool. You can get 3 months of LottoX for just $100. And so given that the contracts are really cheap, even if you have a couple of losing weeks, we're not talking thousands of dollars of losses here. We're talking like $18 if this went to zero, for example, and you did one contract. And because the service is so cheap, you don't have to worry about trying to make that $99 back as fast as possible, because it's not like a $1,500 service where you are already in the hole. These low-cost services that Raging Bull are operating at the moment or offering are really, really pretty good. So pretty exciting stuff. I'll put my week 3 update into here, but come and check it out. And hopefully you found this quick review helpful. Talk to you guys soon.